Hi everyone, welcome back to another video with Youth with Rosie and Brad. We hope that you've had a great week, whatever you've been up to. We know a lot of you will be starting back at school tomorrow. We hope that it's not too bad and that this video blesses you as you start your week at school again. Rosie, what are we looking at today?
So this week we're going to be having a little bit of a think about respect, what it is and how we can show it to other people. So we're going to begin by just having a little bit of a look about what respect is. So for me it is about not judging other people for what they're saying, for just really loving somebody even if I don't agree with them, being around people that I may not necessarily agree with, but just showing them the love that we're told to do in the Bible. And how do we show it? It is very much just loving each other and not arguing and agreeing to disagree sometimes, and just really showing a care about somebody and just looking out for people even if we're not friends with them, or even if we don't really know who they are, or if we don't agree with them. Brad, what do you kind of think about that idea of respect?
Yeah, a lot of what Rose said really. I think she covered all the bases there. I think there's maybe one other one I'd pick up on, and that's like the respecting power and authority sometimes. So some of you will have to, whether you always agree with a teacher or not, is obviously it depends on the situation or whatever, but you care enough about that person and you show respect to them by, getting on with your work. If you've been asked to be quiet, doing stuff like that, and there's just, and like I guess a respect for your parents if they ask you to maybe put the pots away or whatever it is. There's a general sense of respect that has to go along with that when there is a slight power and authority balance too. So
I'm going to just give a quick example about how I respect others, and then Brad will hear from you.
Yeah.
So I have quite a few friends who are very different to me. We get on because we have lots in common, but at the same time we have lots of different things that we don't necessarily share in common. So for example, one of my friends is really into drama and she's studying that. Another one of my friends is into English and she studies that. But then neither of those are things that I'm really interested in. But we have a respect as friends to listen to what they've got to say, the stories they tell us, and just being there for them, even if we don't necessarily understand it or if we don't share that same interest, but respecting them and really showing an interest in what, how it's affecting them and what they're doing in it. So really just loving your friends and listening to what they've got to say about things, even if I don't understand it or agree or enjoy it.
Yeah, and I think one thing for me is I used to be in a band, and it meant that we did a lot of shows, and sometimes we'd be on either first or second, and there was still maybe a couple of bands to go on after us. And I think there was some times where we was quite maybe tired or we're just ready to go after we played, but out of respect for the other bands, like they were there because they had to be, because they hadn't gone on yet, but they stood and watched us. So it's out of respect that we used to stay there until the end and watch other bands, so that they know that like everyone's in it together. And it's the same when we did like Battle of the Band competitions too, because even though you're competing against each other, it's like if you don't win, or maybe you don't do as well as you think you should have done, or whatever, it's about still applauding the people and congratulating them, and just having like a mutual respect for the work that they're doing, and not being bitter or upset about maybe the result that you would have preferred. So that leads us on to looking at what the Bible says about things to do with respect. So I'm just going to look at a passage here from 1 Peter 2. I'm reading from the Message version this week because it was a really good translation, we thought. So I just want to read this. So this is 1 Peter 2, roughly 16-17. Exercise your freedom by serving God, not by breaking the rules. Treat everyone you meet with dignity. Love your spiritual family, revere God, and respect the government. Now, there are a lot of things in there that we can break away and try and understand, but I think really, it's so God says we have this freedom, which we are set free from, things like death and things that we do wrong, and all these other things that He set us free from. But by doing that, we shouldn't break rules, and some of those rules is how we treat other people. And I think sometimes we can be so passionate about something that sometimes it turns into an argument and you don't mean it to. It's about being controlled and saying, well, this is my point, and I'm going to be really careful with how I deliver, how I'm talking to this other person. And that comes on to that next point of treating everyone you meet with dignity. By not talking down to someone, you are treating them and talking to them with the respect that they deserve, that God also gives them. Don't forget that every single person on this planet, whether they know God or not, deserves to be loved and respected and have the dignity that God shows to us. And the next bit is loving your spiritual family. So I think that again goes back to not just your parents, but maybe elders at the church or wherever you find yourself in your Christian bubble, for lack of a better word. Then love them and revere God and respect the government. Revere God, great. I think we all basically know what that means, but respecting the government can be so hard sometimes, because it's not always about the big politicians that we hear about. It's about the little governments and like the church government, how that works, and maybe school governments and how they work. But respecting that, maybe not always agreeing, but saying, you know what, they've made that call, even though I might not agree with it, I'm going to still do it anyway. Okay,
so I'm going to have a look at Romans 12 verses 10 to 12, which says, be devoted to one another in love, honour one another above yourselves, never be lacking in zeal, but keep your spiritual favour, serving the Lord. Be joyful in hope, patient in affliction, and faithful in prayer. So particularly the first part of this, it says be devoted to one another in love, which means show respect, love one another, make that one of the main things in a relationship is showing that love and respect to one another. Make sure above all else that love element is there between you and your friends. And then it goes on to say honour one another above yourselves, which again, honour is kind of another like point off from respect. You respect and you honour somebody. Again, you might not agree with them, you might not agree with a call that your parents have made, and you might not agree with a call that your teachers made, but you honour them because they are in a high position and they're doing their best for you. And then it just goes on to talk about serving the Lord and don't lose your passion and stuff like that. And I think that's just so important, that we need to keep serving the Lord, because He is the one that helps us to keep that respect there. He reminds us of what we need to do and how we can do it. And I think the more we serve God, the more we can use Jesus as an example in the Bible, and the more that we can remember to respect one another. And it's good, because when we may disagree with somebody, we can think to the Lord and look to the Lord and go, what do I need to do? And we will be reminded that we need to love one another and respect one another in all circumstances.
Yeah, and I think just because you're respecting someone doesn't mean that you can't have that conversation and say, actually, I disagree with that. Mm-hmm. It's not about holding everything to yourself because you disagree anymore. It's just about being careful about how you deliver maybe the conversation that you want to have, and just respecting everyone just as you'd like to be respected by people. And again, talking about how everyone is respected and loved by God, so we should probably follow His suit in doing that too.
Yeah. We're now going to pray.
Yes.
And we haven't set a challenge this week.
Oh yeah.
So
really quick, you have to give everyone in your family a respect.
Okay, let's pray.
Okay.
Father, thank you so much that we have the chance to spend time with people that we may not agree with, and spend time with people that we do agree with, Lord. Thank you that we have you to teach us respect and love and honour. Lord, we just pray that every time we haven't respected somebody, and every time that we don't respect someone, Lord, that we are forgiven and that we can try harder next time and try to show more people the love that you have for them through us. Lord, thank you for this week, and thank you that that you're with us every single day and that you love us so much. Amen.
Amen. Okay, so I've had a really quick thing. So, to those of you who are going back to school this week, I think your challenge can be to maybe respect some of the calls that your school have had to put in place because of coronavirus, and maybe some of you who aren't at school, then maybe just, respect what your mum and dad have to say too. We hope that you've enjoyed this video. We hope that you've learned something from this video, but more than anything, we hope that you have a wonderful week. We can't wait to see you soon. See you later.